Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're tackling a massive headache for homeowners everywhere. We are going to dive right into demystifying the frustrating and honestly often costly symptoms of hard water and directly compare the two most common plumbing solutions on the market today. So if you're trying to figure out how to protect your pipes, your expensive appliances, and even your skin, you're in exactly the right place. We've got a great roadmap for you today. We'll start by defining the hard water problem, then we'll break down exactly how water softeners and salt-free conditioners actually work. After that, we'll put them head-to-head and wrap up by helping you make your final choice. Let's jump right in.
Part 1, the hard water problem, and identifying the symptoms in your home.
So let me ask you a quick question. Why in the world do your faucets spot so quickly? You know the drill, right? You scrub your kitchen sink, and a day later, those white, chalky spots are right back. Well, if you're dealing with that, you are already seeing the absolute most obvious red flag of hard water. It's basically a visible warning sign of what is happening deep inside your plumbing. And it's definitely not just the faucets. We're talking about that stubborn soap scum that just completely coats your shower glass. Or maybe you're dealing with constantly dry, itchy skin after washing. But the real kicker is what's happening out of sight. Your water heater might be seriously struggling to heat up, and older pipes can get choked with heavy scale buildup. These aren't just cosmetic annoyances. They are literal efficiency killers that will absolutely drain your wallet over time. Moving on to Section 2, how water softeners work, the traditional salt-based method. Okay, so here's the magic behind traditional softeners, a process called ion exchange. It sounds super scientific, but it's basically just a swap. Hard water is absolutely packed with excess calcium and magnesium. An ion exchange system physically grabs those stubborn minerals and swaps them out for sodium or sometimes potassium. It is literally plucking the problem right out of your water supply. But for this process to keep working, the system has to regenerate. This is where those heavy bags of salt come in. The system uses that salt to flush all those trapped hard minerals right down a drain line. Because it physically removes them, you get truly, strictly soft water. The immediate payoff? Your soap lathers like crazy. And your internal plumbing, especially expensive stuff like boilers and water heaters, gets incredible, long-lasting protection. Now for Section 3, how salt-free conditioners work. The alternative, scale prevention technology. This is where things get really fascinating. The technology here is usually called template-assisted crystallization, or TAC for short. And get this, it doesn't actually remove the calcium or magnesium at all. Instead of trapping the minerals, TAC just alters their physical form. It basically tricks them so they are far less likely to stick to your pipes and fixtures and form that nasty scale. Because of how this works, salt-free units have one primary job: scale prevention. The hard minerals are still completely present in your water. But for a lot of folks, the operational perks are absolutely huge. There's no brine tank, no lugging massive bags of salt from the hardware store. Plus, there is zero regeneration cycle, so you aren't flushing gallons of extra water down the drain. It's incredibly hands-off, though honestly, how well it works can really depend on the specific chemistry of your local water. All right, Section 4, the head-to-head comparison, matching household symptoms to the exact right solution. Let's put them in the ring together. First up, soap scum and dry skin. If your biggest pet peeve is feeling totally dried out after a shower or constantly fighting shower scum, the traditional softener wins this round, hands down. Since it actively extracts those minerals, it gives you that true, soft feel and great lather. Salt-free conditioners? Well, since they leave the minerals in the water, they really aren't going to do much to fix those lathering or dry skin issues. But what about scale and maintenance? Now, this is where the competition gets super interesting. Traditional softeners are the heavyweights for severely scaled older pipes, but you pay a price in maintenance. You're always going to be buying salt and flushing water. Salt-free conditioners, on the flip side, are the absolute champions of low maintenance. They offer fantastic scale prevention for moderate hardness with absolutely zero salt deliveries and zero drain flushing required. So it really all boils down to one fundamental trade-off. A traditional salt-based softener completely removes minerals, but demands higher maintenance. A salt-free conditioner only alters the minerals to prevent scale, but requires basically zero maintenance. You just have to ask yourself, are you dealing with heavy scale and willing to do the maintenance for truly soft water? Or do you just have moderate hardness and want a set-it-and-forget-it lifestyle? Finally, Section 5, making your final choice. Let's give you a practical framework for your home. Okay, before you even think about buying a system, you have to know what you're up against. You must test your home's exact water hardness. This test gives you a hard number, usually measured in grains per gallon or GPG or milligrams per liter. Guessing just won't cut it here. That specific metric is the absolute foundation for whatever decision you make next. Once you have that exact number, here is your game plan. Step 1, get that test result. Step 2, evaluate your daily household needs. How many people live there? How much water do you use on a typical day? What kind of high-end appliances are you running? Then, step 3, take all that data and cross-check it against the manufacturer's flow rate and capacity specs. You want to make absolutely sure the system you choose perfectly matches the actual demand of your house. Which brings us to a really solid rule of thumb straight from our source material. If you want the most reliable reduction of hardness-related problems, a softener is often the stronger choice. Basically, if your test screams very hard water and you want guaranteed protection for older pipes and expensive appliances, the classic salt softener is simply your safest bet. But if you're in the moderate zone and just want to stop scale buildup without lifting a finger on the weekends, conditioning is probably calling your name. So, armed with the science of ion exchange versus crystallization, it really all comes down to this. Are you willing to trade a little bit of weekend maintenance for the perfect sudsy lather? Or is a totally hands-off, scale-free home your ultimate goal? The life of your plumbing, your appliances, and even your morning shower are all waiting on your answer.